What's up? So today's Monday morning cardio Q&A. Give me something to do here. This may be a little bit longer. I got a bunch of questions, so I'll try to hammer them fucking out. Terry asked favorite food I've ever belched during training. Probably hot wings. Those usually come out the spiciest. They're fucking great. What do I do to help with wrist pain besides gangster raps? Trevor, I really don't have a hell of a lot of wrist pain. Besides, the throwing and everything like that, but I mean, when I lift, I use wraps, and when I throw, I use a wrist support. So they stay pretty good, and plus with mobility stuff like that, I make sure I stretch. That's the biggest one. That's what I would recommend if you're already using wrist wraps. Speaking of belching, 215 schedule, Ken. Probably look exactly like what I did this season. So probably Loch Norman. That'll be in April in the Carolinas. May will be Victoria and Arlington. June will be Brescia, France, Chicago. July will be Portland, Seattle. Costa Mesa's in there earlier in the year, like in May. That one's fucking rad. Pleasanton, Celtic. Hopefully I end up back in Scotland for one reason or another. Maybe get to do Creef again. That was a lot of fun. And whatever else the kids have planned for us. I'm usually pretty open. I usually have some that I schedule and then some see what falls in my lap, what I want to do. My go-to style of beer, it varies depending on season. If it's warmer out, I like IPAs, a little lighter and more aromatic. Outside of that, in the winter I like going to darker stuff, more ales. Lager, Nola Brown is really good for a local. So, what do I do to stay balanced physically during throwing season, given the events are either done with one arm or one side of the body? Nothing. I throw one way. I mean, the throws are, everyone says they're one-sided, but I mean, I do the mobility shit in the gym and I lift. I don't really do a lot of single-sided lifting, so I think that helps. But I mean, if you're finishing your throws and blocking correctly, they're not really one-sided. I mean, you are turning always to the one side, but I think that can be fixed. Terry, top 10 gyms any strength athlete needs to train at least once. I probably don't have 10. Sorinex out in the Carolinas is a really, really fucking special place. Kind of a museum, kind of a gym. These guys are great. Get out there. Super training's fucking awesome. That place has always had a great vibe. CSA, where Jesse Burdick is, out in Pleasanton, is amazing. It's a really cool gym. It has, high-end fight stuff and high-end powerlifting and CrossFit, and everyone's kind of working together. Not to mention a bunch of the broads that are really, really great looking. And Jesse's there, so is Katie. They're awesome. San Francisco CrossFit was really, really cool. That's probably my favorite looking gym. Being an old building, 1904, wood beams. It's fucking really, really cool. Elite's compound in Ohio is a good one. Still training in a handful of people's garages that I've had the chance to lift with. Terry Holland's gym over in London was cool. So is Jakobo in Iceland, which I'll be back at soon. Very excited about that. Alright. Well, I walk around at 215. I should probably drop 10 pounds. Should I compete as a lightweight for the Highland Games, or should I keep gaining? Keep in mind I'm still pretty sucky. Man, if your natural body wants to be 215, and maybe you don't have the height to handle being 250 plus, I really think for you to be a competitive heavy, you've got to be 250 plus. So if you want to be any chance of being a professional or any of that, you've got to have that much ass to be able to throw 256 far. However, if you're normally a guy that's around 215, you can cut some fat and be competitive as a 200. That's where I'd stay. I mean, it all depends on what you want to accomplish. And so, I mean, the pro deal is a hell of a lot better, you know, across the board. But, I mean, if you're not a big enough guy to do it, you're not going to be able to do it. So, enjoy the hell out of it. It's a fucking fun sport. If I could pick 3 lifter or strength athletes I look up to past to present, who would they be? Jim Wendler, for sure. Max Pippa, a buddy of mine, fucking just incredible. Was a lightweight strongman, now is military, in great shape, crazy strong. Number 3 is probably Mark Bell. That guy he's done a lot. And I'm very, very impressed with the things he's able to accomplish. And, you know, with the body recomposition and staying strong, the guy's work ethic is outrageous. It's motivating. Have I had any scap or rotator cuff issues? If so, what scap exercise do you do? I really haven't. Sorry about that. Haven't really had a whole lot of shoulder issues. I mean, my training's not really that crazy, and I handle the mobility stuff all the time. I also get massage and I get adjusted. And I keep those things moving before they get too tight to where stuff starts fucking tearing. So I suggest doing that. As far as shoulder exercises, I just put a program out for it. Oh, go check that out. It's $5 fucking. MattVincent.net. I'm 38. I've only been lifting a couple years. Did a meet a couple weeks ago. Trained submaximally most of the time and hit great PRs. All right, sweet. My question is, will training submaximally give me consistent gains as I get stronger? I want to train for a long time, get stronger, and stay healthy. It seems like this is my ticket for that. Man, there's about 800 fucking ways to do it successfully. This is what works for me. I also don't get hurt. I stay healthy. And to me, that's the fucking key for anybody trying to better themselves in the sport. It's, man, pushing here and there to add 5 pounds and hit a max and risk and all the injury, you know, injury risk. None of that fucking outweighs you doing something stupid and getting fucking hurt and then you're out for 6 weeks or have surgery and you're out for longer than that. Those will be a much worse setback than consistently making fucking progress. So that's why I do it. I also don't train I also don't compete in a sport that gives a fuck about my total. However, when I have decided to change focus a bit and get on the platform, I seem to do just fine. So, I mean, triples and fives are where you're going to make progress. You know, and we're not talking about 50% submaximal, we're talking about 90%. Hit some fucking reps. Save your singles for the platform when they fucking count. Lower back, rehab, prehab. Brett, that's all the stuff I do with the Shakira program. I mean, I know it says it's for the hips, but that's all worked in there. Check that. Again, MattVincent.net, it's $5. Elbow pain from throwing stone. Yeah, I'll get a little bit of golfer's elbow at some point during the season, so that'll end up hurting my front rack, stuff like that. But man, really using some type of a compression cuff like the Mark Bell sleeves has been huge. And so there's a reason everyone's using those, because they're the most affordable and they fucking work. So that helps with my elbow pain. That'll get me through so I can compete. It's not a fix by any fucking means, but it helps. Movies, yay! what is an ultimate evil force? Do you think filmmakers should leave the evil force to the imagination? For example, movies It or House of a Thousand Corpses. The spider thing in the end or Dr. Satan seem to let me down. Should they leave that up to the imagination? I think there's times where that's done really well, where you don't have to see the actual violence. You know, my favorite example of that would be the movie 8mm, where they never show you the snuff film that Nicolas Cage is watching, because whatever I'm picturing in my head is fucking way worse. I think there's a lot to be said to imagination. At the same time, if you've got a good bad guy or a good evil force, it's not a problem to show. I mean, and it gets tricky on what you're going to actually call the evil force. You know, for me, like a perfect film, 28 Days Later has got to be just about as fucking close to what I consider a perfect horror movie as possible. The main characters are simply reacting. He didn't cause the problem. It wasn't his own stupid bullshit. And all he's doing is surviving from that point on. And does a fucking pretty good job of it. I mean, there's some other philosophical points I think you could argue the movie makes and stuff like that, but still, it's a battle against himself and it's a battle against nature. And I think those movies do really, really great. So, it really depends on how you want to portray that character. I know that leaves it fucking open, but I like them both. I mean, as long as it's done well. I mean, I think The Devil's Rejects does a pretty good job of throwing the fucking, of showing what monsters those people are. So, Matt, how did you learn Highland Games? Did someone coach you, or did you watch instructional videos? Watched instructional videos and took whatever knowledge I had from throwing from the last decade, shot, disc, and hammer, and really applied that. If you're new into it, watch a lot of videos now that they exist. Ryan Stewart's got a DVD out there that's great. So does Mike Bukowski. Check those out. Nazca Web has a ton of information on it. I spent a lot of time on there in my early years. A lot of people want to help. But if you can find a group to train with, that's what I suggest. That's going to be your best bet. Josh, snatching about once a week. Favorite lift, but not my favorite sport. How would I suggest programming it? I do it once a week, and I build the percentages up just like I do the rest of my lifts. All of that is in the two books I've written, Training Lab and Strength Lab. But to answer more, I do it toward the end of the week on my day 3 during my regular cycles of either speed or strength. And that way, by the end of the week, I've got to move fast again. I've got to be coordinated. I've got to have timing. And so, it's as much as me trying to wake the body up and say, like, all right, let's do this. We have to do this now. We have to do this in this order. Be strong, be fast. Be on balance. You know, work hard. So, I usually do them once a week with cleans. And I like the Olympic lifts, so that's why I do them a lot. Plus, I think they're great for athletes. Daniel DeWelt, sorry. Has never been able to consistently accelerate the hammer from slow to fast through 3 winds. It's either push the hips, push the ball. Well, those are your fucking answers, man. You're only going to be able to accelerate it by you catch it here, and as gravity is helping you, that's when you push it around, and then you re-counter and sit. So the further you can get your hips moving in a circle opposite the hammer, the faster the hammer is going to go. That's your best bet. That's what happens. It's going to take a lot of work. When I tried to get better at the events I cared about, I went out and threw 3 or 4 times a week and took about 20 reps per event. So I think if you go throw a hammer 60 fucking times this week, in 2 months you'll probably be better than throwing a hammer. Chris, looking to get in the sport but has never done the heavy events before. Things to avoid, useful bits. useful bits of info. Check nazgaweb.com. Bunch of info there. Look up videos online of how to throw. Get implements. The biggest info I can give you is if you're already lifting and doing shit and you want to throw, go start fucking throwing and get out of the gym. I mean, until you hit a certain level of competency, you're going to get more bang for your buck as a thrower being out in the field fucking throwing. So, start getting those reps in. I mean, it's going to take 10,000 reps to be fucking good at anything, so if you take them 60, 100 reps a week, you got a lot of fucking weeks. I don't know, I'm not a mathematician. So, that's that. Sorry our video's so fucking long, but that's your Q&A. And Drifter Lifter series is coming soon. Hit that subscribe thing up there in the corner. And keep kicking ass and let me help any way I can. I'm gonna sit here and pedal and sweat and try to be less fat. Cheers.